So it's an F4 flight controller with an ESC. They're rated up to 6S. Now this is misleading. You need to take something into consideration and just keep this in your mind, what I'm about to show you right now. Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be doing a Banggood window shopping video. Not only that, I'm also going to be showing you some cheap components that I have been testing and I've been using quite a lot, which I would definitely recommend as well if you're on a strict budget. So the way this works is everything will be linked down below in the order we check them out. And let's go ahead and get started because we haven't done these videos in a while here. So here we have just a cheap flight controller that I've set up here. Now it's pretty interesting because this one also has a 9-volt regulator on board, and I have set one of these up for one of my friend's quadcopters, and it's still performing really great after a ton of crashes and a couple burnt ESCs because of not disarming after crashing. It's still a pretty good flight controller here. So it has a 9-volt regulator for your video transmitter. It's a 20x20, so just keep that into consideration. So it's not a 30x30, but it is 20x20, and it could take raw battery voltage, which is something really nice to have here. So this is one of those picks that I have set up here. It looks really cheap. It just does the job, and that's all it does. And it has a little extra functionality with its overall 9-volt regulator, and it also does have OSD if you're wondering about that. So this is a really nice budget component if you wanted one. Now for ESCs also, this is a really nice budget setup. We're going to move into the new parts in a bit here. These are really great ESCs. I've done noise testing on them. I don't know if I've ever released a video. These are really good ESCs. You don't need much filtration for them. They're using big proper FETs, and they have current limiting, BL-32. This is like, it's crazy that you can get this for $28. These were worth 60 bucks when they first came out. These are rebranded, what are they called? These are basically rebranded Airbots, and I guess nobody's buying them, or this is on a flash sale right now. So we have 5 days left for these. So $28 for 4 ESCs, and this is a proper ESCs here. These will last you quite a while. Also, yeah, one more thing for budget stuff: the Emacs Ecos. I've been using these a lot. The 2207 2400 KVs, and I've been using them quite a lot. They're 44 bucks. Some people complain of the bearings going bad. I still haven't had that issue happen to me, but that is a possibility to keep into consideration. But it's still a really good price. What is that? It's around almost $11 a motor, something like that. Yeah, $11 a motor. That is crazy. And in my opinion, these are really great motors that I've been using on one of my main builds so far. So I definitely would recommend them, but you also need to take into consideration that the bearings might not be so great, but in the overall performance wise, they perform really great in my opinion. Now if you're racing, that's something completely different. I'm just talking about your average flyer or your cinematography type of flyer. You're going to be fine here. So here we have a new flight controller from GEPRC. Now this is not a 20x20, nor it's a 30x30. It's the Crazy Bee type boards here. However, this thing has the ESCs also built in, rated up to 20 amps. Now when GEPRC says 20 amps, I kind of believe them because I've used some of their products in the past, and they are really good products in my opinion. 50 bucks is on the expensive side slightly, but if you're making your own frame or you have some kind of a special frame, you'll be able to stick some nice 1508 motors on this or 1507 motors on this and be able to have a really light setup here. Now I do highly recommend you add a low ASR capacitor to this type of setup because also the FETs are pretty small and there's going to be barely any room for filtration, as you can tell right there. Now what's really nice about this, why I would recommend you would set this up on something larger than a 13XX motors, is because the motor pads look pretty respectable. Now I'll explain what that means. Just keep a mental image of these motor pads right here, and you'll understand why I say what I say here. So keep an eye on that. So it is 2 to 4S only, so keep that in mind. BL-Heli S ESCs, not 32. And if we scroll down here to see some of its specs, MPU 6000. Okay, we have OSD, of course. Barometer, nope. And if we move down here, we have a 5-volt 1-amp regulator. We have an integrated LC filter, which should help you with the video noise, but I still recommend you add, an LC filter is kind of like, let me explain this to you. So an LC filter, what does that do? For example, you cut yourself and you're bleeding a lot and you're going to need stitches. An LC filter is basically a bandage. It's just going to bandage that thing, but the problem is still there. So it's still, you might not see it, but it's still damaging or hurting the other components with the voltage spikes and everything. So that's why I'd recommend you add that low ESR capacitor. It's kind of like, nice stitches, and that would really close that up and help you out there. And stitches with a bandage, it's a good combo. So that's what you would get if you add a low ESR capacitor. That's what I would do to this personally. So it doesn't say that they do provide you with one, but I highly recommend you purchase a couple. I'll have some link down below. You can get Rubicons or Panasonics. Those are really great, and I've tested on the channel, so I know they're good. I actually have data behind those. So this is a new name. Let's not call it a no name. This is a new name, Hyphon RC. So it's an F4 flight controller with an ESC. They're rated up to 6S. Now this is misleading. You need to take something into consideration and just keep this in your mind, what I'm about to show you right now. So basically, this is an F405 stack with a ESC that's rated up to 6S and has Bluetooth for $55. Now, this is not a good price because you could get iFlight stuff for cheaper and that are actually better. Now, some people might mistake this and say, oh, I'm going to put it on my new 5-inch setup. This is not meant for a 5-inch setup. And there's a lot of telltale signs that tell you that. Now, it doesn't say anything here, but there are a couple things you should look for. Now, if we scroll down here, we see that the flight controller is nice. It has like 6 RGB LEDs on the bottom side here. You can see them right there. The ESC looks like an ESC, but if you take a closer look here, we see we have baby FETs. It's fine, but look at the filtration. That's one thing to look at. This will not handle a 5-inch setup, 4 or 6. So keep that in mind. Filtration is terrible. Yes, you could add low ESR capacitor, but that's just a band-aid to the bigger problem here. Now, another thing to look for if you're going to be setting this up on a 5-inch setup. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying I don't recommend it, and I wouldn't do personally. I would not put this on anything above a 3-inch setup. You could get away on a 4-inch setup, but a 3-inch setup is maximum I would put. Look at the motor pads. They are really tiny, and you're not going to have very good power delivery. That's one thing I look for here. So this is not really meant for a proper like 2207, 2306 motor. There's no way in hell you even put the wires on this thing. And just keep, again, a mental image of this right here. And we're going to move into an iFlight budget range 20x20 that's actually meant for 5-inch setups, which we'll get a closer look at here. However, this does have some nice benefits here, which the iFlights don't have. But this is only if you're going to be setting it up on a 3-inch setup, which is, we have a 9-volt regulator. So if you're planning, in my opinion, if you're planning, for example, this is where I would use this on. If I'm planning a 3-inch build with a DJI Air unit, then this is the thing I would pick up. But I'm not, if a 3-inch build though. And because it has a 9-volt regulator on board. So that's something really nice. And the Bluetooth is also really nice. So those are the only 2 extra options you get with this compared to an iFlight one. But the iFlight ones usually are 5-inch capable ESC and flight controllers that you could put on a 5-inch quadcopter. This is a 3-inch maximum, in my opinion, and I'd highly recommend you stick to that. Now here, another one that I can't wait to get my hands on. I know a lot of people don't like these, but I really love these. So this is an iFlight all-in-one. And basically the ESC, the flight controller, the PDB, everything is built into this one. I think it's even using USB Type-C here. I think it is, but we'll take a closer look in a little bit here. Now the FETs are pretty tiny. I don't like that. Filtration is absolutely, it's not, no, it is minimal. It's okay, but okay on the low side, not the good side. So you will definitely need a low ESR capacitor, and I'm pretty sure they'll provide you with one. Now this is a board that has everything in it with DJI, compatible with the DJI Air unit. And what that means is, usually depends, is it might either have the connector, and it will definitely have a 9-volt regulator. So if we move down here, or 10-volt. So we have a 10-volt regulator for the Air unit, or your normal video transmitter. Oh, crap. So this is, never mind. Okay. So you really don't want to buy this unless you're going to be setting it up on a DJI build. And the reason why I say that is because there is no on-screen display chip for your analog video feed. So this would just be for a DJI build, and I'm not very excited anymore about this unless I'm going to do a DJI build. But yeah, and another thing to take note of on this ES, or this all-in-one, is I wouldn't put it on a high demanding setup. That's one thing I wouldn't do. Currently from the pictures looking at it, I'd probably put it on like a maximum 4S 2400 kV maximum or below. But you can get away with putting it on higher, but it's not going to be very reliable on high demanding setups. That's just the case with all of these. So if you have a nice little chill flyer with some Racer Star 2400 kV, 2500 kV Racer Star, keep that in mind, because their kV is usually lower when they're stating, then you're going to be fine. You're gonna enjoy it. But yeah, it's still nice. A bit expensive, but still nice setup. It has its own use case. It's not a bad thing. And it is rocking BL32 ESC. It's 40 amp. I don't think 40 amps. Now, here's another thing from iFlight, which I really like. This is like less than $1 per amp here. This is an ESC. Now, the filtration is on the okay side. Not, just the middle okay side. Still definitely would need low ESR capacitor. It's a BL so it's not a 32. Not that it matters. For me, it doesn't matter, to be honest. You get RPM filtering on both anyways. So it is a 2 to 6S. This I would definitely put on a 2 or a 6S. I mean, a 4 and a 6S setup, a 5-inch setup. And we have 45 amps. Now, what I really like about iFlight here is, one thing is we have edge plating, which is also really great to have. I like to see a lot of space also when I see edge plating here between these, because it's so easy to bridge them. So this is a nice design here. Big FETs, okay filtration. And if we take a closer look at the battery pads here, what we see is we have two tiny holes. And this is for your low ESR capacitor, whether Panasonic or Rubicon, whatever you have, add that on there. And they didn't leave this here just by coincidence. You should definitely add one. Usually they do provide you with the low ESR capacitor needed, but it's also good, they're really cheap. Just buy a couple of them. I'll have some linked down below. It's always good to have them. And yeah, definitely add a low ESR capacitor. Whether you're running a 4 or a 6S setup, you should definitely add one here. And yeah, so this is a really, really attractive price. This is just crazy prices right now. What we're entering into, $36. That's insane. And again, everything here is linked down below. So here's a 20x20. Now, this 20x20 is $10 cheaper than the one we just saw. However, it's truly made for a 5-inch setup. And you can even see the 2 to 4S. So yeah, 2 to 4S, that's what I was going to tell you. Don't put this on a 6S. So it's a 4S setup. Let's consider it as a 4S setup. 35 amps, which will cover most of just about anything really, unless you're racing. BL, which is totally fine for $44 with a F405 flight controller. That is great. Now, if we take a look at the motor pads here, this is where it gets really interesting. I just want to see if it has any other features real quick. Nothing really. Okay, so look at the motor pads here. You see that? Now that shows that you can put it on a 5-inch quadcopter and you'll be able to fit those actual big ass 2207 motor wires on there. Now if we go back to that cheap one here and we get a closer look at the motor pads, look how tiny these are and look how fat these are. There's a huge difference here. That's just one telltale sign that I always look for. So this you get away with using it on a 4S setup. Not a super high demanding 4S setup like a 2750 kV, 2306 or anything like that. But you'll be fine on a good 2306, 2400 kV. I think this will handle just fine. Now this one is really interesting. This is $40. First, I thought it was the same one I'm using, but I'm using the F60 Pro. This is the F50. So you're paying less than $1 per amp here. So this is not the top or the high-end one. This is the budget range good one, I would say. It's using the same exact design as the Pro. So they're saying it comes with the metal casing. So theoretically, it should come with the heatsink here. Now, the heatsink is really massive. It's really nice, actually. It is a BL and 3 to 6S, 50 amps, $40. That's insane. Now, if we move down here, the design is just gorgeous. We have big pads for our motor wires. Spacing is okay. Filtration is really great. It's good. The filtration is good. You still add low ESR capacitor always. And if we take a closer look here, I really love this. So we have our battery inputs will go here, and our low ESR capacitor is going to go on the outside here. So it makes it so much easier for you to install, because this is the most annoying part of a build, in my opinion. When you're trying to put the battery leads with the low ESR capacitor, it can get really, really annoying. And if we take a closer look down here, everything is broken out. So if you're not using the Mamba flight controllers, you can easily just access whatever you need from here. You have motor 1, 2, they call them engines for some reason. Motor 1, 2, 3, and 4, not connected, which is nothing. Your current sensor, VCC, and ground, which is basically what's coming in from here. It's just routed right there. So that's something really nice to see here. Here we have another 20 by 20. I think we've covered in the recent video. Also, you can see the motors right here. The motor pads, they're really great, spaced out really good. Edge plating, nice. We also see the holes for the low ESR capacitor, which is something you always want to look for. Now this is rated up to 2 to 6S 35 amps. You could get away. I think you could get away with a 6S low demanding setup, but a high demanding setup, I would not put a 6S. I would not put this in a 6S build. Definitely would not. This is just my opinion. Now, I'm not saying you can't get away with it. You could totally get away with it. But this is what I would do just to feel a bit better and just be sure nothing bad's going to happen. Now, this flight controller I have, and I've been using it, and it's really, really, really great. Well, all flight controllers are usually really great unless there's some noticeable problem on there. So obviously this one doesn't have any problems. But what really separates this, first of all, the price is pretty average price here. But what really makes this stand out is the flexibility. And what do I mean by that? Well, you can put an HD setup or an analog setup, and you still have voltage regulator for, you still have, I think, a 9 or a 10 volt. Let's double check it real quick. 9 volt. So you have a 9 volt regulator. So you could use that 9 volt regulator for either your DJI HD setup, or you can use it for your analog setup. So it'll give you beautiful video footage or clean footage, video feed footage. But the thing what separates this than other flight controllers that are DJI compatible is they also keep the on-screen display. So you can switch out. You can say, okay, I no longer want this build to be analog. I want it to go HD. And not only that, it was just one simple connector. Boom, your whole quadcopter transforms into an HD setup. And that is one thing I truly love about this. And not only that, look at that. It's supposed to be TVS diode. So TVS protection, transient voltage suppression. If we take a look here, which I think I showed in my video and I did an overview on this right there. This is kind of, it's kind of like, it's a filter in a way. And when the voltage spike goes up, it just basically just cuts it off and it just suppresses it. And that's something nice. It protects your overall components. At least it protects the components on the flight controller itself here from bad voltage spikes. So possibly if anything were to burn, this would probably act as a fuse as well, but highly unlikely, but it can. But and again, this is a really nice setup. For 30 bucks, this is a proper flight controller, which is compatible. Now I wish it was an F7, but I've just been seeing a lot of budget F405s being released recently. Now this ESC I definitely recommend, 100% recommend. I've been using it nonstop and I love it. But be careful before purchasing this one because a lot of people told me that this one did not come with the heatsink. So I don't know if it was this posting or not, but yeah, just be careful because yeah, you want the heatsink if you're paying this much because it's a nice ESC. It's the same thing that we saw earlier, but this is the F60. And this comes with the heatsink. So the other one says it comes with the heatsink. This one's not saying anything about a heatsink. So just be very careful and maybe email them before you purchase it. So again, everything here is linked down below. And this is the lost frame, the Tina Whoop, Diatone Tina Whoop. I have the complete quadcopter somewhere. I went to go fly it, but unfortunately, it's not taking, I don't want to say standard sized batteries. You know, I think it is standard now, you know, the 300 milliamp HVs for these types of 3-inch micros. This one's going to need slightly bigger batteries, 400 to 500, because it is really heavy. It's pretty heavy actually. And but it's really durable. The design is really nice, but you will need a fatter battery to actually fly. And yeah, if you're planning on buying this frame, then keep in mind larger batteries and you're going to have an overall larger weight than your typical 3-inch. So that's something to take into consideration here. And just take note of so you don't get surprised at the end of the day. And yeah, well, that's going to cover it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Everything is linked down below. If you can check those out, it's a great support the channel. Come join my Patreon where I do more than 10 giveaways a month. And new Patreons have their own separate giveaway. So if I got 2 new Patreons, between those 2, they get a premium giveaway. So it's a really win-win situation for everything. And you get access to all of my schematics like my open hardware ESC, flight controller, and everything of that nature. And well, that's it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.